Welcome again, Positive Family Connections, PFC Family Network Mini Grant Information Session. My name is Nancy Vu, she, her pronouns, and I'm the Best Starts for Kids Positive Family Connections Program Manager. And I also have my colleague here today. Leslie, do you want to introduce yourself? Okay, Leslie.
Sorry, Leslie Miller. I'm with the contracts and procurement team here at in our department, and I am the lead and will be answering questions, and I actually have already begun to answer questions that have come in. So I look forward to communicating with more of you.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Leslie. Okay, so our agenda today, we're going to go through an overview of Best Starts for Kids. Then we will review key elements of the request for proposal, or RFP. We'll have RFP rating and review, and then go over Zoom grants, application basics. We'll have some time to talk about technical assistance, and then also time for questions and answers. Okay, so Best Starts for Kids. We have a happy, healthy, safe, and thriving vision. We want to see babies born healthy, kids thrive, and young people grow up to be healthy, happy, successful adults. And our mission at Best Starts for Kids is that we strengthen families and communities so that babies are born healthy, children thrive and establish a strong foundation for life, and young people grow into happy, healthy adults. And this next slide is our CYAB and equity statement. So CYAB stands for Children and Youth Advisory Board, and they are an oversight and advisory board comprised of King County residents and community leaders with geographically and culturally diverse perspectives who make recommendations and monitor the distribution of our Best Starts for Kids levy proceeds. And so they, as a group, made an equity statement, and these are just a couple bullet points from their equity statement. Equity is an ardent journey toward the well-being as defined by the affected. Equity is disruptive and uncomfortable and not voluntary. And equity is fundamental to the community that we want to build. And the principles that we have here at Best Starts for Kids are promotion, prevention, early intervention, and policy and systems change. So in terms of promotion, we want to increase the positive things available to babies, children, young people, and their families. And in terms of prevention, we want to decrease the things that may prevent babies, children, and young people from growing up to be healthy and happy. And in terms of early intervention, we want to intervene early to support children and young people who need additional resources to succeed. And then policy and systems change. We work to change systems and policies so that all communities in our region can thrive and prosper regardless of race or place. Okay, so this is a little slide about funding basics for Best Starts 2.0. It's a 6-year property tax levy, and it is 19 cents per thousand assessed value for home value. The average cost is about $114 for a $600,000 home. And the March 2021 projected revenue for this levy is about $879 million. Now this slide talks about investment amounts for 2.0 BSK 2.0 levy, and this levy is again 6 years, so it goes from 2022 through 2027. And the list here are the investment areas that Best Starts for Kids invests in. So as you can see, there's childcare, capital projects, TA and capacity building, homelessness prevention, investing early or P5, Sustaining the Gain, we also call it 5 to 24, Communities Matter, and Data and Evaluation. And so Positive Family Connections is part of the Sustaining the Gain 5 to 24 strategies. And so the Best Starts 5 to 24 investments continue the progress made in early childhood with school and community-based organized opportunities to learn, grow, and develop through childhood, adolescence, and into adulthood. Okay, so this says sustain the gain 5 to 24. I talked a little bit about that. So this slide shows you, as you see in the blue direct services, these are all the different strategies in the investment area of sustain the gain. And then in the purple are integration and other strategies. So there's two of those strategies under that. And so Positive Family Connections is highlighted here in blue. Again, it's one of the direct services strategies for Sustain the Gain 5 to 24. Okay, so what is Positive Family Connections? So Positive Family Connections strengthen parent-to-parent engagement, kinship care relationships, or those informal relationships who aren't biological parents, but maybe grandparents, aunts, or uncles, or older siblings, intergenerational and cultural heritage bonds, restorative practices, personal development for young people and parents and caregivers, and the connections among these family members. So this is the core focus of Positive Family Connections, is really that relationship building between parents and caregivers and their youth. Okay, and this slide shows a little bit about our current awardees for Positive Family Connection strategy. They are funded from July 1st, 2020 through December 31st of 2024. So they were awarded 2.5-year contracts. And we have 11 organizations for Positive Family Connections. Here we have Atlantic Street Center, Catholic Community Services, Congolese Integration Network, Candelia, Mary's Place, Mother Africa, Open Doors for Multicultural Families, Resilient in Sustaining Empowerment, or RISE, Southeast Youth and Family Services, Southwest Youth and Family Services, and Technology Access Foundation, or TAF. And so we fund programs, and they all do offer different types of programming, but the focus is family engagement and really, again, that relationship building between the parent and caregiver and their youth. Okay, so if you notice, this RFP is called Positive Family Connections Family Network mini grant, or RFP. And so this is a little slide about, okay, so what is the family network? Well, as a part of our Positive Family Connection strategy, we implemented a family network in 2023. And so they started meeting every other month in February of 2023. And the purpose is really to center family voices and create a culture of building strong partnerships between families, community-based organizations, and Best Starts. It's a place where they're sharing resources, co-creating authentic family engagement strategies, listening to family needs that arise in the community, and offer a space of continued collaboration and connection. There's 13 active members from the current awardees from the previous slide that I just showed you, and they include both young people and parents and caregivers. And so our strategy, Positive Family Connections, had an opportunity to do a mini grant for the community. And so we co-designed this RFP with our Positive Family Connections Family Network. And during our meetings that we had since February, they pinpointed the 3 focus areas of this RFP. really having discussions, okay, of what are the highest needs that they're seeing right now, and what would be some, focus areas that they would want to fund with this mini grant. And they pinpointed these 3 bullet points. So self-care, helping working families, and mental health support. Now, the next slides are just going to be examples of proposals in these 3 focus areas that our family network it was that they thought of. And so these are examples from them on what they thought could be example proposals. So under self-care, they said an example could be something like offering a retreat for caregivers with a focus on self-care and provide childcare stipends so caregivers can have respite time. Also under self-care is hosting a family field trips or a camp that supports relationship building, or provide a workshop series with the focus on self-care. Under the focus area of helping working families, there's a couple examples here of proposals, possible proposals. They could be offer trainings on financial literacy, or to host workshops for caregivers and youth to connect with each other while learning about employment opportunities and receiving job readiness support, including how to build a resume, complete an application, and the opportunity to purchase interview clothes by providing clothing stipends. And this slide talks about the 3rd focus area, which is mental health support. So the first example could be, plan and offer a mental health resource fair for the community involving families in the planning process on varying levels, which could include providing feedback, co-creation, or leading the project. To offer relevant youth-led activities that are of interest to youth and are convened in the community and focus on learning about available mental health resources. And then 3, host a culturally specific event or multiple events that offer a supportive environment for caregivers to teach, share cultural traditions to their youth through positive self, family, and cultural identity, and strengthening relationships between the generations. So again, these are just example proposal ideas. Co-designed from our family network, which is also listed in the RFP as well. Okay, and this is a quick summary of the RFP. So the total funding available is $130,000. The application due date is April 26th, 2024. And the contract period will be from July through December 31st of this year. So funds will have to be used by the end of the year. And funding request limit. So this is a mini grant, and you can apply for up to $10,000. And the anticipated number of awards is 13. Okay, and then this slide shows a brief timeline that we have. This is also included in the RFP. So it was released on March 15th. We are having an online info session today that is recorded, and it will be posted on the Best Arts blog for others who would like to view this info session. The final date to submit questions via Zoom grants will be April 24th. And the final date to initiate requests for technical assistance will be April 19th. This date, proposals due, is very important. So the due date for this is April 26th by 2 p.m. And then after that, we will have a review panel that will review the responses for 2 weeks from April 29th through May 13th. And interviews with applicants, if it's requested, will be in May. And in June, there'll be the notification of the selected and non-selected applicants. And also in June, hopefully we can get to the contract negotiations with selected applicants and then anticipated program contract start dates in July. And this next slide is just more of a visual, for those of you who are visual learners, of what the previous slide just talked about. So of the timeline here. So there's March, applications posted, April, applications due April 26th, reviewed, and May, June, awards announced, contract negotiation, and then July contracts. Okay, and this slide talks about our funding priorities. So our Positive Family Connection strategy partners with community to strengthen and build positive relationships between parents, caregivers, and young people. So this RFP seeks to fund activities that support families with young people ages 5 to 24 as they navigate their changing relationships to strengthen the family, particularly the relationship between the young person and their parents and adult caregiver or adult caregivers. Funding can be one-time projects or events in 2024. We welcome creative ideas that includes a focus on the three focus areas, which is self-care, help with working families, and our mental health support. And the focus communities include, but are not limited to, communities that have been historically marginalized and disproportionately impacted by historical trauma, racism, COVID-19 pandemic, and other adverse experiences that can impact emotional and mental well-being. Now, this slide talks about who is this RFP for. This request is open to families collaborating for the purpose of improving connection among caregiving adults and the children and young people in their care. Current Positive Family Connections awarded partners are not eligible to apply. So eligibility. Eligible applicants must meet the following minimum qualifications. So you must be a group of collaborating families who develop or implement the proposal in partnership with the fiscal sponsor. You must have an active relationship for 2 years or more with the organization who will serve as their fiscal sponsor, and must currently be an active family network or coalition, and also reside in King County and host or deliver the program in King County. Okay, and then this talks briefly about the RFP review and rating. So definitely make sure in the RFP that you carefully review the rating criteria in section 9, part 1. The review panel will closely follow the scoring rubric. All proposals submitted will go through a formal review process, and the appeals process is outlined in the RFP. Okay, and then Leslie will talk to you about Zoom grants.
Thank you, Nancy. So if this is your first time ever applying for a grant from DCHS, then there is opportunity to that you might need some help. And if you need some one-on-one assistance, I just wanted to say I will stick around after the formal presentation, just in case anyone has questions after of the material that I share with you this evening. So I will go ahead and I'll just let you know that I will be showing you Zoom grants. So it's really important to make sure that you click on every tab and that you're responding to all questions. And there is a couple of upload that are required, the determination of minimum qualifications, which is a letter from your fiscal sponsor, and then as well as a budget upload. So that's where you would have your budget and would upload that information. And so, so it's just really important to make sure that you don't leave anything blank. And like I said, I am available at the DCHS contracts at kingcounty.gov to answer any follow-up questions that you have. Few more things to remember. It's, if at all possible, I encourage you not to try and do the application on the day it is due on the 26th. You could very well run into technical problems, and so you really want to avoid having that panic at the last minute. A recommendation that we make for Zoom grants is that one of the, you can avoid losing your work in case something goes wrong by typing out your answers and then copying and pasting them into Zoom grants. So instead of writing directly into Zoom grants, type it all out and copy it in, because there are times where it usually will save very quickly. If you notice that there's a spinning that's happening, that means that you may have to re-enter that information. So it's really good to be able to copy and paste and not have to rewrite. Zoom grants is the location where you'll get updated information. So for example, the recording, all questions that are asked and answered will be in amendments, and those are all posted up on the Zoom grant site. So we just want to encourage you to take a look at that on a regular basis while this funding opportunity is open. So technical issues, if there is something that really is going wrong, let's say you've lost access to Zoom grants, I may need to point you in the direction of the Zoom grants help, but because they're really the folks who run Zoom grants can do things like reset a password or something like that if you run into a problem. But you can check in with me and see if there's anything that I can help you with. So again, number 4, please, please, please allow enough time. And I know everyone is so busy, but if you can try and upload and submit your application on the 25th or earlier, you might save yourself some issues. And the other thing I just want to underscore, and Nancy brought this up, is the 2 p.m. deadline. Don't think about it's the end of the day. It is 2 p.m. And so that's really important, because Zoom grants, this application on Zoom grants will close at 2 p.m. and you would not be able to submit your application at 2:01, for example, when it closes at 2 o'clock. Okay, now for taking a peek at Zoom grants. So you have a great link that is on the Best Starts for Kids site. It's on contracting with DCHS. Nancy might be putting it into our chat as well this evening. So I always think of this, you've got 2 lines of information. This top line with the blue buttons that say show description, so show requirements. You can click on all of that, and this is really going to give you information. Most, if not all of it, is also in the RFP document, but there's also kind of a reminder of some of the information as well. For example, the library, you may wonder, the library is where all of the documents that you need are located. So I think, as Nancy said, it's really important to get the full RFP so you can review all that important information. The second set of tabs here is where you will be entering information. So there is a summary page where you will give information about the organization you're working with, contact information, the zip codes where you are serving other families. So you want to click each one. And then the next section is the determination of minimum qualifications. And that is basically what Nancy shared were the requirements. You need to say yes or no to those. And people qualify who say yes to all the questions and then upload the letter from your fiscal sponsor. And your fiscal sponsor will talk about the length of your relationship, their capacity to support you if you are funded. And then the next tab is the narrative questions. And this is where it's really important to do the work outside of Zoom grants and then copy and paste it in. I do want to alert you to the characters left here at the bottom of each paragraph. For example, question number 1 has a maximum amount of 3,000 characters. So that's different than words. So it's letters and spaces and everything. So you can get, if you have access to Microsoft Word, for example, it will tell you how many characters like paragraph that you have written is, so you can track that, because when you come in here to copy and paste, you'll only be able to copy those numbers. And it looks like all of them, that all the questions here on this page are 3,000 character limit. And then your final tab is where you'll submit your budget upload. And so this is where you have 2 options. You can use the template that's in the library, where you can just share kind of line items of what your expenses will be, or you could upload your own budget document. So we're not requiring you to use the template, but it is there if that would be helpful to you. Nancy, did I cover everything you hoped I would, or did I miss something?
Yeah, no, that was great.
Okay.
You covered everything.
Great. And then if people have questions, any more questions about Zoom, I'll be here at the end of the meeting if you have any additional questions.
Great. Thank you so much, Leslie.
You're welcome.
Okay, so Leslie just did the Zoom grants demo. Next step. Okay, so we have technical assistance. So we offer free technical assistance, or TA, is available to support applicants and eliminate barriers that might prevent you from seeking funding through April 19th. TA providers can assist in determining appropriate fit between your program and the RFP, provide guidance on how best to answer questions and where to find supportive data, and support application review, including editing and budget review. TA is also not grant writing. We do have a couple TA providers on the call today and would love if they would like to introduce themselves.
Do you want to go first, we may?
Please go ahead. I'll follow
Okay.
after you.
Okay. Hi, everyone. It's good to see you this evening. My name is Kathleen Perez. I'm from Inclusive Data. I'll put my information in the chat here in a second. And we provide technical assistance. If you have not gotten technical assistance before, you're missing out. You've got to get it. It's good stuff. It's not grant writing, as Nancy said, but it is a lot of grant support. So we can walk you through the application, We can walk you through how to best answer each question. We can do really thorough editing, and we can sit down and go over your budget together and create it together. I do a lot of help with budgets, and people really appreciate that process. So definitely it's free. Like you should use it. It's awesome. You don't have to get it from me. You don't have to get it from Swime. You can get it from anybody on the list of TA providers. And you can do that for all of the Best Starts funding opportunities that are available. It's a great service that King County offers. We also have some tools at Inclusive Data that are specifically made for people who are more like, they're more into talking about their organization than writing about their organization. Like they can say all kinds of great things about what they do and their mission, vision, and what their objectives are and all of that. We have some tools for kind of translating your verbal storytelling into writing. And so that's something that we like to offer our clients. So I will put my information in the chat and I'll let Swime say hello.
Thank you, Kathleen. So as Kathleen mentioned, there are a number of TA groups that are contracted through BSK, and I am from one of them. Myself and two other colleagues of mine are with Dicentra Consulting, just a 3-member team, and we have been providing technical assistance to potential applicants for the past 2 years and have really enjoyed working and partnering with the organizations. So please reach out and, as what is shown on the slide here, we not only help you determine fit, and what Kathleen mentioned, that we really help to elevate your voices, and that is important. And do reach out to any of the TA groups for assistance early, because we want to be able to have sufficient time to do our best to support you. And usually with us, we do try to go back and forth with the organization, if possible, at least twice, go through edits at least twice. And we do help answer questions if there are any questions during the submission process. So feel free to reach out to Inclusive Data or Dicentra or any other groups that are on the handout. Thank you so much, and I'll put our information in the chat too. Thank you, Nancy.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Kathleen and Swime. And again, you can find the list of the full list of TA providers in Zoom grants in that library tab that Leslie showed us earlier. If you click on the TA consultants page there, you'll be able to see the whole list available, and you can read about them and reach out to any of the ones that you feel are a good fit for you. So thank you both.
Thank you, Nancy.
Okay, and then it comes to, yes, just additional resources. You can email questions about the RFP to dchscontracts@kingcounty.gov. And again, contact the technical assistance providers directly for support, and also see the glossary of terms in the RFP for a list of relevant definitions. Now, we will open it up for questions. So if anybody has any questions, please feel free to come off mute or type it in the chat, and we will do our best to answer, unless all of your questions have been answered already. Yes, Tracy, or
Hi, thank you. My camera's broken on my laptop.
oh.
So forgive me. But thank you so much. This is a great info session. I'm curious, this sounds so basic, but I just want to extra confirm that you have to be a group of families with a fiscal sponsor. You cannot be a nonprofit applying directly for this.
Yeah, so we want a group of collaborative families applying with a fiscal sponsor together. Again, we want to center family voices, and so being that active family network that are actively meeting together. If we left it as family, because it could be young people and parents and caregivers, or a group of young people, or just a group of parents and caregivers meeting together. But they have to be actively meeting, connected with the fiscal sponsor.
And I guess if you don't mind a follow-up question to that, just because the nonprofit that I write grants for, I guess I wonder if there were a group of families who were very connected to the nonprofit that wanted to contract with the nonprofit as the fiscal sponsor because the nonprofit does carry out a lot of the programs that already are listed as in strong alignment with the RFP. So I just wonder, like, can the group of families choose to contract out with the fiscal sponsor to organize and manage some of the activities that the grant might fund?
So can the group of families contract out with the fiscal sponsor? So they would have to, so in a partnership, they would need the fiscal sponsor to be the one.
But in their budget, could their budget include, sorry, and forgive me, I haven't fully read the RFP. I just found out.
Oh, no problem.
But can part of the budget be applied to contracting services from a nonprofit to help to carry out the work?
Yeah, so you mean, so if, for example, they needed staff or something from the nonprofit to carry out some of the work. Yes, that's fine.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Celeste, I see you have a hand up.
Hi, thank you. Yeah, I have a similar question. Like, we are a BSK partner, and we have a whole section of our program that's run by parents, like Latino parents. The whole thing is focused on like bringing the Latino community together. So part of the projects we're doing are like parent cafes, and the people that are working it right now are, volunteers in the community. But I looked at this grant and I thought this would be amazing for them to formalize and work as like support groups for moms with kids with disabilities. So does that not count, or do they have to officially like apply on their own and then be supported by us, or how would that work?
Yeah, so it would be, definitely the partnership. So we want the group of parents voice in terms of partnering with the application with the fiscal sponsor. And then again, also remembering the focus area of the three different focus areas. So having it focus on either self-care, helping working families, or the mental health support as well.
Yeah, so we could figure out a way for that to align, because it's really about self-care and mental health, for it. But how formal do they need to be? Like, do they have to have a formal like registration? Can they just be like,
no, it could be informal. Yeah, we're definitely not trying to look just for formal like coalitions or networks. They definitely can be informal parents or families collaborating, basically actively meeting together for a common goal. So if that makes sense.
But then, so they would like present their ideas, bring it all together, and then like one of our grant writers would help them write the grant.
So yes, so I mean they would. So the parents or the parent leaders would be the ones applying, but they would also need to list the fiscal sponsor on there.
Okay, so would they have to like name themselves something? Like, is it just like a group of parents? Like, do they have to have like a name of their group, or like obviously like a title of their project, something like that?
Yeah, just the title of what their project or proposal is. But no, they don't have to have an actual name unless they want to.
Okay. That's my question. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Okay.
Thank you for those questions. Great questions.
Hello, my name is Makina Galton. I am a kinship coordinator for an organization called Intercultural Children and Family Services.
Uh-huh.
And so so my original understanding, what I thought this was for organizations to apply for grant funding, but now I'm getting a different understanding. So now my question is, if we have a network of caregivers, mostly grandmothers who are meeting monthly
Mhm.
for a support group, so does that mean that they would be able, so not the organization would apply for this grant, but could they as a collective support group apply for this grant?
Yes. They would just
Okay,
need the organization to be their fiscal sponsor.
okay,
Mhm.
thank you.
Right, thank you for those questions. Do we have any other questions? And Leslie will be typing up all of these questions and adding them to Zoom Grant so that everybody who applies can also go to the FAQs and see the questions that were asked today. Khadijah, I see your hand is up.
Yeah, hi, I'm Khadijah Jackson. I work alongside with Makina, but just wanted to add to that. If the caregivers had two separate ideas, any of that, like, should they submit two different proposals or should they just focus on the one idea?
That's a good question. So two separate ideas. Yes, so again, so this is the mini grant, so it's up to 10,000. So depending on what the proposal, they would probably have to submit individual idea proposals then if it's two separate ideas.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Mhm. Great. Anyone else have any other questions? No? Okay, so I'm gonna take it as no more questions. Again, if you do have any other questions, you can email Leslie at the DCHS contracts@kingcounty.gov. If after you read the RFP and you have more questions, that is definitely the place to go for questions. And again, definitely double check or keep checking Zoom grants in the library for all of the updated amendments, because once people send in their questions, Leslie will be uploading those questions into Zoom Grant. So check the amendments and the questions just before you send a question, because it may have already been asked in the questions amendment as well. Great. Okay. Well, I think we finished a few minutes early, so I will let you all go and enjoy the rest of your evening. And thank you all again for attending.
Thank you. Everyone have a good dinner.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.